Although I was not a member of this Assembly when the Ockenden report was published, I remember the shock and outrage I felt when I learnt of what these poor people endured on the Tawel Fan ward. Listening, even last week, on the radio to families reliving their experiences and how they feel when they even have to pass the area concerned, which was more reminiscent of how people in mental ill health were treated in the 18th and 19th century, not the 21st. 3 years later, we now have the findings of the Health and Social Care Advisory Service investigation. No one can dispute the independence or expertise of HASCAS, with Dr Johnson and her team carrying out the investigation and publishing the report. HASCAS found chaotic and poor governance and problems across all mental health services in North Wales. They found 9 key factors which compromised patient care. However, there is disconnect between the HASCAS findings and the earlier investigation conducted by Donna Ockenden, and it is this disconnect that has led to families to reject the findings of the HASCAS report, branding it a whitewash and a cover-up. I agree with you, Cabinet Secretary, that we should avoid jumping to conclusions, but until we can fully address the concerns of the families involved in the Tawel Fan scandal, or those treated in the Ablett unit at Ysbyty Glan-Clwyd, we cannot move on from this. Cabinet Secretary, have you considered asking Donna Ockenden to work with HASCAS in order to address the concerns of the families? While I am pleased that Dr Johnston and her team found no evidence of systemic abuse, they did find institutional failings in both the governance and care pathways at Betsy Cadwaladr. Cabinet Secretary, this is not the first report to highlight failings in clinical governance, not just in North Wales, but across the NHS. Do you believe that the current governance model is fit for purpose in a modern healthcare system? I welcome the announcement that you will publish a special measures improvement framework for Betsy, and I look forward to seeing the first progress report in October. Cabinet Secretary, as Betsy are already in special measures, what recourse is open to you should they fail to make progress against the improvement framework? Finally, Cabinet Secretary, you have indicated that there are lessons for the wider NHS and that you expect NHS organisations to consider the report. With regards to social care implications, what discussions have you had with Social Care Wales, and do you expect local government to also consider the recommendations of the HASCAS report? I look forward to working with you to ensure that the events that occurred in the Ablett unit can never happen again. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
Thank you. Cabinet Secretary.
I want to start again by reiterating that this report is certainly not a whitewash or a cover-up. If the report, on the basis of the evidence available, had come to a different conclusion, then again I would have been in a position where, of course, I would have been duty-bound to accept that. There is precious little point in having an exhaustive, independent investigation process taking nearly 3 years if the first response of a government minister is say, I don't like the conclusion, get me a different one. This was deliberately undertaken as an independent exercise away from the Health Board with people who are not practitioners in Wales, but with real independent expertise and integrity to get at the truth, to allow us to understand what happened, but also to help set a path for the necessary improvement. The Ockenden report, the second report, is about the governance structure of the Health Board. And as I said in my statement, I expect that to be provided within the coming weeks. It will be published, it will be made available to the board, and indeed the response to it. And that may require me to look again at the Special Measures Improvement Framework. And as I've indicated in my oral statement, I will be happy to do so to make sure that all the required measures are in place. And I will then transparently report back on progress made. And it's an important part of the Special Measures Framework that the Health Board didn't go into special measures at the convenience of a politician. There was independent objective advice that it was the right thing to do. And in all of the progress or lack of it that has been made under special measures, again, we have had independent assurance both from the Wales Audit Office, from Healthcare Inspectorate Wales, and indeed the Chief Executive of NHS Wales. So this is no one person providing advice, no one politician making decisions to benefit themselves individually. Frankly, it would have been to my own selfish interest to have seen them taken out the special measures, and this report provide an entirely different conclusion. These are independent, objective and robust conclusions have been reached both in the report but also in the continued requirement to keep the Health Board in special measures, and that will continue to be the case as we report on progress or otherwise. I've indicated our report back on the wider improvement work the rest of the NHS family is undertaking as a result of this report, and we will have more to say on the safeguarding work to be undertaken both in North Wales and what that may mean for the rest of the country too, involving health, local government and others working together.